In the previous video, we introduced decentralization as a key feature of the Bitcoin network structure. In this video, we'll explore several unique properties of Bitcoin that arise from it, focusing on these 5 key concepts.
Terms like decentralization, trustless, self-sovereignty, neutral money, and permissionless come up all the time when you start digging deeper into Bitcoin. If you understand what they mean now, it'll become much easier to follow more advanced discussions later on.
Let's start by taking a closer look at decentralization itself. As we saw previously, decentralization means that there is no central authority. Instead, a large number of nodes participate in the network and work together to maintain and operate the system. Decentralization consists of 3 main elements: the decentralization of mining nodes, full nodes, and development and upgrades. First, the decentralization of mining nodes. Distributed mining nodes operate without a central authority and contribute to both the creation of Bitcoin and the validation of transactions. Second, the decentralization of full nodes. Decentralized full nodes accept blocks produced by mining nodes, propagate blocks and transactions across the network, and serve as entry points for users sending and receiving Bitcoin. Third, the decentralization of development and upgrades. Bitcoin Core is developed openly on GitHub, and anyone can participate. As long as software follows the rules, even modified versions can run on the network. Upgrades are adopted individually by miners and node operators, and the outcome emerges through a unique, decentralized form of majority consensus. Because the system is decentralized in these ways, Bitcoin exhibits a number of distinctive properties.
Bitcoin is decentralized from many different angles. It's designed so that no single party can arbitrarily control how it behaves. Of course, there are influential participants like large mining companies or well-known developers, but the system is built to prevent any of them from changing things in their own favor. Especially when it comes to upgrades, each participant independently chooses whether to adopt changes. That's a really important aspect of decentralization.
Because the Bitcoin network is decentralized, it has several important properties. First, it is extremely difficult to shut down the network. It is also very difficult for anyone to seize someone else's funds. This is often referred to as censorship resistance. There is also no single individual or organization that can consistently control transaction processing. No one can arbitrarily stop transactions or permanently control the order in which they are confirmed. These characteristics are also part of what we call censorship resistance. Similarly, changing the rules of the Bitcoin network is extremely difficult to control unilaterally. As we'll discuss shortly, Bitcoin also has the property of being trustless.
All of these properties are important. For example, censorship resistance makes Bitcoin useful even in authoritarian countries, like for funding democratic movements.
In reality, thousands of mining nodes around the world compete to create, validate, and process Bitcoin transactions. Most miners participate through mining pools, but anyone can join mining freely without needing permission. This is possible because the algorithm designed by Satoshi Nakamoto allows consensus to be reached in an open, leaderless network. Because of this, even if a country attempts to shut Bitcoin down, it's very difficult to succeed. It's also extremely hard for anyone to fully control the order of transaction confirmations.
It's amazing, right? People all over the world can freely participate in mining, and yet payments continue to work smoothly. Even if one country bans it, the network keeps running, and even if many countries try to coordinate a ban, it will continue operating in others. These days, some people even do home mining with small machines. So even within a single country, it might be impossible to completely stop it. And globally, countries that don't ban it could continue developing this innovation. That makes the decision to shut it down even more difficult. If a country chooses not to adopt it, other countries will take the lead in its development. I think this is because the system Satoshi came up with was truly revolutionary and created significant value. Satoshi's pretty awesome, right?
The decentralization of full nodes is also critical. By using a full node, any user can transact in Bitcoin according to the rules they personally accept. If full nodes were not decentralized, miners could potentially enforce rule changes that favor themselves. A large number of independent full node users helps prevent that.
Even if you're not mining, running a full node means you're participating in the network. And of course, it also means you're in control of your own Bitcoin. Personally, I run a full node at home.
Next, let's look at the concept of trustless. Trustless means that you don't need to trust any third party. For example, when you use Bitcoin, you don't have to rely on someone else to behave honestly. You don't need to assume that this person won't cheat. This is because many participants in the network, those running full nodes, independently verify that everything is functioning correctly. If you run your own full node, you become part of this system, helping support the network alongside others. In short, the system is designed so that cheating is extremely difficult. This is fundamentally different from centralized systems like electronic money. In those systems, the operator could make mistakes, or, in the worst case, act maliciously. Even with laws and audits, human involvement means risk can never be completely eliminated. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is designed so that the system itself prevents fraud. That's why it can be used without trusting any specific individual or organization.
Trustless basically means you don't need trust. From what we saw earlier, since everyone is verifying things together, it's hard for any single party to cheat. Bitcoin has been designed and improved with a strong focus on decentralization and trustlessness. For example, after downloading Bitcoin Core, it takes a long time to sync all past transaction data. You might think, why not just download all the past data with the software and start using it right away? But if you do that, you risk getting incorrect data from the site you downloaded it from. Instead, your node connects to the network and verifies everything according to the protocol. There's ongoing research to make this process faster, but new techniques are only adopted after being carefully reviewed.
To fully benefit from a trustless system, it's important to run your own full node. By sending and receiving Bitcoin through your own node, you can ensure that transactions follow the rules you personally accept, without relying on others. This makes arbitrary control or fraud extremely difficult.
Running your own full node is key to really using decentralization and trustlessness. That said, there are also many ways to use Bitcoin without running one. We'll cover those later. For example, if you use an exchange, you're trusting that exchange. There are also mobile wallets that aren't fully trustless but minimize the amount of trust required. That doesn't mean you shouldn't use those wallets. It's just that instead of thinking Bitcoin is trustless, you should understand how the software you're using works and what you're actually trusting. Running a full node is difficult for beginners. That's why alternative solutions are being developed that minimize trust as much as possible. That idea is often called trust minimization.
Next, let's discuss self-sovereignty. In the world of Bitcoin, the term self-sovereignty is often used. It refers to the ability to hold and manage your Bitcoin yourself without relying on a third party, as well as the ability to transact freely with anyone. Some people use the term to refer only to the former. This property arises from Bitcoin's decentralization, and it requires running a full node.
You only get the full benefits of Bitcoin when you manage it yourself. Controlling your own private keys is extremely important. If you use third-party services, you should understand the risks you're taking. These days, even when relying on third parties, a wide range of different approaches has emerged. As mentioned earlier, this is often discussed in terms like trust minimization.
Next, let's look at the idea of neutral money. Bitcoin is created solely through mining, which is open to anyone. As long as you have the necessary resources to invest in equipment, you can start mining freely. without relying on any government or needing anyone's permission. As a result, people across many different countries participate in mining. In addition, by leveraging its censorship resistance, Bitcoin can help protect against confiscation by individuals or governments, allowing for a system that maximizes individual rights. Because of these properties, some people regard Bitcoin as the most neutral form of money.
For example, during the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia had assets frozen by other countries and financial sanctions restricted international payments. Seeing this, many countries became uneasy about relying too heavily on the dollar. The dollar is the global standard for trade, but if it can be frozen or restricted, that's a real risk. That's one reason why central banks have been buying gold. And in a similar context, some people are turning their attention to Bitcoin.
Finally, let's discuss permissionless. No one needs permission to participate in the Bitcoin network. Anyone can run Bitcoin Core and connect to the network. Anyone can start mining. There's no need to reveal your identity or obtain approval to contribute to development. This open access is what we call permissionless.
It's amazing that anyone can just connect and participate freely. This is made possible by Satoshi's invention of a system that can reach consensus without requiring permission. As long as you follow the protocol rules, you can even connect using your own custom software. Bitcoin Core is designed to handle all kinds of inputs and still function correctly as a whole. Since the consensus part is very sensitive, using anything other than Bitcoin Core is generally not recommended. So if you want to change that part, it's better to propose improvements to Bitcoin Core. Even today, many engineers are involved in development, and new contributors keep joining.